Hello everyone, my name's Wendy Oliver and I am the Junior Secondary Coordinator here at CCC, and I also teach Spanish in Year 7 and 8. Year 7 is a transition year, so we understand that there are a lot of new routines and procedures and things for students to learn and become aware of and become comfortable with. Whether it's at school or in the workplace, uniforms are really important. They are a symbol of our school and they help to identify our students when they're out in the community. So when we're here at school, we have students wearing their uniform with pride, and we do have high expectations of how they wear that uniform. The uniform policy can be found on the Student Cafe, in the student diary, and also on the Parent Lounge. And this outlines which days students will be able to wear formal or sports uniforms. Students will also go through this policy with their PC teacher in the first couple of weeks of school. We understand that at times students may be out of uniform. For example, they've left their shoes out in the rain. If parents just write a note, then students can present that to our student window. When they come to school, they'll be given an exemption and they can show that to any teachers who question why they're out of uniform. Each student has been allocated a lock and a locker, and we ask that devices are stored securely in lockers when they are not in use. If students are having difficulty using locks or lockers, then they can talk to staff in the Learning Hub or their PC teacher. Student timetables can be found on Student Cafe, and a paper copy was also given to students on day 1. We operate on a 2-week timetable here at CCC, which means we have a week A and a week B. So timetables look different for each week.
My name's Aaron Rodriguez. I'm the 7B Pastoral Care Teacher. For the week, for Year 7 PC, we focus on 3 areas. The first one is skills, where they'll be looking at how to use a Word document and navigate through that. The second area is the wellbeing focus, where we'll be looking at our clear values. And the third area is basically chapel on a Friday, where the students will go and learn about a new topic each week. So our role here as PC teachers is to basically make sure that your student is doing as best as they possibly can through all aspects of schooling life. So we're happy to help and to support them for their academic needs, any questions they have for personal needs. If there's issues happening in the playground or between their peers, then we're basically here for them to talk about those kind of issues. And we basically want to see them do as best as they can. We're to build relationships with them and see how they're going in their day-to-day life. And to do that on a daily basis is a real opportunity to build relationship with the student and to see their growth and their potential as they continue in their studies here at school.
Hello, my name is Vicky Venz and I'm the PC teacher for 7A. If you're the parent of a student starting high school for the first time, my advice to you is to be prepared. You're in for a bit of a roller coaster ride as you navigate your way through the demands and expectations of secondary schooling, as well as the joys of puberty. The next few years will mark the most significant changes in your child's development. There is no other period in the human life cycle when they will experience the same amount of changes. We're all well aware of the physical and emotional changes that take place during adolescence, but now, thanks to neuroscience, we have a better understanding of the adolescent brain. It's important to remember that during adolescence, the brain is undergoing changes too. A teenager's brain is fully developed, but not fully functioning. This doesn't occur until a person reaches the age of around 25, and sometimes even later for some people. The last part of the brain to be developed is the prefrontal cortex. This part of the brain is responsible for problem solving, reasoning, and thinking about long-term consequences. Adults mostly process information through this part of the brain. But in teenagers, this part of the brain is not fully functioning. It's still developing. Teenagers process what is happening through the amygdala. That's the emotional centre of the brain. This part of the brain gives us the fight or flight or freeze response. Consequently, Teenagers can give very intense emotional responses when they find themselves in various situations outside their comfort zones. The time to reason with them is not when they're in this state. It's far better to wait until the situation calms down and then help them to work through whatever they are experiencing at the time. Because they are experiencing or processing through the amygdala, teenagers can engage in activities that appeal to their emotions, and often this can be risk-taking activities. If you were to ask them afterwards, "What were you thinking?" the answer is they weren't. Looking at consequences of their actions is not uppermost in their mind at the time of the activity. That's why it's important to have discussions with your teens before they find themselves in these situations. The adolescent brain is filled with trillions of neurons and synapses. These connections in the brain allow us to think, feel and respond. During adolescence, these synapses are being pruned. Connections that have not been used for a while are lost, while new connections are being formed. For this reason, teenagers will experience times of forgetfulness and disorganisation. They will need to be told or shown numerous times before the brain registers that this is important information to be stored. Establishing routines and procedures helps students with remembering as well as with their organisation. Adolescence is a time when young people are discovering who they are and where they fit in. They're formulating their own worldview, and part of this process is to question everything. Questioning helps them to make sense of things. However, sometimes the way they question can sound like backchat or seem disrespectful. As adults, we can help young people by teaching them how to ask questions at appropriate times and in respectful ways. At CCC, we believe by helping students to be self-aware, they will cope better with the changes taking place in their own bodies as well as those around them. It will assist them to understand the need for routines and strategies for dealing with the various developmental changes, and hopefully prepare them for life outside school. This is a topic that I'm really passionate about. When I was going through with this situation with my boys back in the early 2000s, if I had known this information then, it would have helped diffuse a lot of volatile situations. If I had understood how their brain was developing and that they weren't deliberately doing things to spite me or to get back at me, it was just because that's the way their brain is, we could have had perhaps a much easier time of things. So in conclusion, we are here to support you. We've got experience as teachers, we've got experience as parents. If you feel that you are going through a situation where you perhaps need some help, feel free to contact us at school so that we might be able to help you with these situations.